Well, this morning, more beaches closing as Hurricane Erin turns in the Atlantic. North Carolina under a state of emergency as the storm is already causing some dangerous surf. Mandatory evacuations are in effect for the Outer Banks, where Erin's surge plus high tide could leave people stranded. Beaches from Florida to Massachusetts under alerts, and others closing in anticipation of those life-threatening rip currents. And meteorologist Maya Ruiz has been tracking Erin, and she talks more about the impact on the East Coast, which I know we've talked about being so far off the coast,
right,
but that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, especially when we're talking about the high waves. High surf warnings in place across all of the East Coast, but more specifically, tropical storm warnings for the Outer Banks and a tropical storm watch in Virginia. So this, even though Erin stays a couple hundred miles away from the East Coast. Now, these warnings specifically are there because of the high winds, wind gusts of 35 to 40 miles per hour, but gusts up to 60 miles per hour. And on top of that, when you have high winds that are coming from the ocean onshore, you tend to get something called storm surge, and that, of course, the proximity of Erin. So it's water that gets pushed inland up to 4 feet along the Outer Banks, which is why those evacuations were put in place. Over the last 24 hours, we have seen Erin remain a Category 2, but expand its reach. This is a monster of a storm when we're talking about how much it's covering. It looks larger than the state of Florida at this point. So the latest update has a Category 2 storm, max sustained winds of 100 miles per hour, gusts of 120. It has weakened in the last 24 hours, but it's still expected to move slightly to the northwest before it takes a turn to the northern Atlantic. It should keep its Category 2 status, even though it gets very close to the East Coast there, but the closest it gets, probably a couple hundred miles, or at least the center of circulation, before it continues its northeastern trek. And that's not the only thing we're watching. There are 2 more areas of interest in the Atlantic. One of them, a 60% chance of development. Most models have it staying away from U.S. mainland, and another, a 30% chance of development in the next 7 days. But of course, hurricane season is only ramping up. We generally see this in August and it peaks in September. So we'll be watching Erin at least through the weekend. Mark?